How's it going, everyone? It's Protopon back with another tier list video. Today we're covering the ground type Pokemon, and I was kind of caught off guard of how small of a list the ground type actually is, seeing how it's one of the best typings in the game. But it is what it is. I'm just glad that we're finally back getting out some video content for you guys. I know it's been a while. Unfortunately, the family and I got sick over the holiday. And it's taken us quite some time to just recuperate and get things back on track with everything else that's going on in life. But finally got the time to finally sit down and start getting some more content out for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into this video, guys. Okay, so if you're new to the channel and you're new to my tier list, these are the 3 simple rules that I go off of for myself. They're pretty straightforward. With that out of the way, let's get right on into Gen 1, starting off with Sandslash. If you guys know my Ice type tier list, I actually really like the Alolan Sandslash's design as an Ice type. It is definitely my favorite just by design. And I gotta say, Sandshrew is very cute and just such an iconic Gen 1 Pokemon. Just based off of simple, friendly design, right? And Sandslash just cranks it up a bit. Still pretty solid all throughout. Love the designs for this, guys. Still an S tier in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that. It was a mascot. If you guys have seen the video that I did with Shadowgale and Bricker Boom of our Gen 1 Kanto team builders, we all ended up picking up Sandshrew as our mascot Pokemon for that. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave it in a link below. Go check it out. It's pretty fun. Play along. It's a great video. Moving on to Nidoking, obviously, actually Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Of course, if you've seen my Poison type tier lists, these guys found themselves up into the S tier as well. It's not going to change here. They are such great designs for Pokemon. I really don't have much more to say about them. I've already covered them before. They're fantastic. Moving on to Dugtrio, honestly, doesn't matter if it's a Diglett or a Dugtrio. They're pretty, like, I don't know, like, simple design doesn't always, like, mean great design or bad design. It's just kind of like, if I'm going to pick up a ground type when I have, with, like, a Diglett and a Dugtrio as an option, I'm probably going to pick up a different ground type. Golem, seeing the rock tier list, he landed himself in a solid B tier. He's going to find himself once again here. Definitely looks more like a rock Pokemon anyway. But he's a pretty basic design. He's just rock. So, moving on, Steelix. He landed himself in the A tier for steel design in the steel video. And he's going to find himself once again in the A tier here in the ground type tier list. Love Steelix. Just such a great Gen 2 design. I'm glad that they were able to give Onyx the evolution that he really needed in Gen 1. But I'm glad they took a generation to cook up a great design for him. I love this Pokemon so much. Moving on, Marowak. Marowak's pretty cool. It's one of those pretty simple, straightforward designs that works pretty well. I don't really have much to say. I've never really used a Cubone or a Marowak on a team before, I don't think. But he's definitely a solid looking Mon. I definitely like him more than the Golem. Yeah, I think that actually would make a pretty good mascot Pokemon as well. Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and Rhyperior. I like Rhyhorn, honestly, the best as a design. He's definitely up there as a rock design. I mean, obviously he's a ground Pokemon. That's what we're covering here too. He just looks like such a good armored tank. I'm not entirely sure where I put him in the rock tier list. I'm pretty sure it was either B tier or A tier. But since this list is so small to begin with, I'm going to have to put him in at least an A tier for me. I just like it. He's great tanky rhino look. Like he's just going to charge towards you and just take you out. Moving on, Gen 2, again, Quagsire. Quagsire is cool. I like him. Ground Water is great typing. Only one quad weakness, unfortunately, but I mean, when you only have one weakness on a type that people don't really use to begin with, you're pretty solid. You're pretty well set off. I'm going to say definitely B tier. Water Pokemon are my favorite, so I am going to have to put him before these guys, at least higher up in the ranking. Moving on, Gliscor. Gliscor is an easy S tier in design. I mean, do I really have to like spell this out for people? Gliscor is an amazing design. Gligar's well-needed evolution. One of the coolest ground, and I know we got a flying tier list to get through eventually. He's definitely going to find him here up in the S tier in there too. He's just a solid design. No matter what typing you would have given this thing, absolute phenomenal design. Moving on to Mamoswine. Mamoswine, I'm pretty sure I had him in the A tier in the Ice tier list. It's going to find him up here again. Mamoswine is just great. Ice and ground, just fantastic mammoth design. The absolutely well needed evolution for what is it? Yeah, Piloswine. Yeah. Moving on, we have Donphan, and Donphan, we're gonna have a couple of these to cover with its different evolution, their different forms later on. Donphan is a really cool looking ground type. Like, it's almost, for the longest time when Gen 2 came out, I wasn't actually sure what typing this thing was, like Phanpy into Donphan. And never really caught on because I wasn't paying close enough attention to it at that time, just because by the time you get this in a game, you already have like a full team. But in all honesty, this is a great design. I have to at least give it maybe like the top of B tier for me right now. I think that's pretty fair. All right, moving on. Obviously, we have Larvitar and Pupitar is ground typing. And then obviously Tyranitar is rock dark, so I can't put Tyranitar on this list. But obviously, Pupitar is absolutely very cute Pokemon. Obviously, if you've seen my rock and dark tier list, Tyranitar sits up in the S tier. It's my favorite rock Pokemon of all time. I think Larvitar at least should deserve an A tier ranking just for how cute he is and just how cool of a Pokemon that evolutionary line ends up becoming. And just Larvitar is also just a cool Pokemon. I'm going to probably put him underneath Steelix though. I think that's pretty fair. I do need to do a pseudo legendary list, but Tyranitar is my favorite pseudo of all time, so. All right, going into Hoenn, we've got Swampert, who is definitely the best starter of the trio there, and you will never change my mind. I need to do a starters tier list. That's also something I really need to do, but I'm torn between A and S for this. And because technically he's water first and foremost, I think it's fair to say that as a ground typing, obviously he's one of the best because, again, only one weakness. Of course, it's a quad weakness to grass, but when you're a starter Pokemon, you got some pretty good stats regardless. So I'm going to put him now up at the top of A tier for us. I think that's a very fair placement for him. Nincada, obviously Ninchask is what it evolves into, and a, what is it? Why am I blanking? We've already covered it. Shedinja. Obviously those two Pokemon, very cool. Nincada, it's nice as a ground bug type. I'm surprised they don't have more of these to begin with. I think it's safe to say that, honestly, he's pretty cute as a bug ground. I feel like he might even be the gatekeeper of the top of the C tier for us. I don't really have much to say about him. Camerupt, I'm going to say, is a pretty solid B tier Pokemon. I've never used a Numel and a Camerupt before. I mean, Fire Ground is pretty cool. Quad Weak to Water, though, is terrifying because Water type is just one of the best in the game. It's my favorite in the game, and I would argue is the best in the game, but that's just me. Just because the plethora of water and how much it resists and how much it can actually do against a lot of typings that don't resist it. So Flygon, we've covered Flygon before. It's an A tier Pokemon regardless of dragon or ground typing. This thing is gonna shoot pretty far up this list pretty fast. Do I like it more than Swampert's design? I mean, you see Flygon as a dragon type before a ground type first anyway, so it's kind of sits in that same boat. I'm gonna say second place for it right now. It's pretty fair. I think that's pretty good. Anyway, moving on. Wishcash is another Gen 3 water ground type, right? Yeah, Gen 3 water ground type. I mean, this is the third water ground type we're covering. It's a good design. I don't think it's anywhere near C tier. I think right here is pretty good, in all honesty. I think that's good. I like that. Claydol, S tier. It's my favorite psychic type. Again, we're going to be rearranging S tier at the very end of this video. I don't really have much to say that I haven't already covered in my psychic tier list with this guy. It's such a solid design. Groudon. It's pure ground type. One of the best. I don't know if I'm going to use the word best for this. I should do a legendary tier list as well at some point. I'm torn between A and S. I think I gotta put it in S. Groudon, it's just, yeah, definitely S tier worthy. Torterra. This is where things start kind of getting hard for me. Again, you see it more as a grass type because it's a starter before you see it as a ground type. I'm gonna put him second as of now. He is my favorite. I'm gonna say this now. Torterra is my favorite grass starter of all time. It was the first time I ever stopped picking water as my starter type, just because Turtwig is so cute. Torterra though is. I can't. This is throwing me off. This really is. I have to put it into S tier. This is my problem. I like Swampert technically better than... Do I like... Yeah, but I do. I like Swampert technically better than Torterra. However, I'm looking at my S tier right now, and I definitely like Torterra more than some of these others. This list is getting really hard already. I'm going to have to put both of them up in S tier. I really do. I really do. Alright. S tier, this is, what? 8 Pokemon up in S tier. This might become one of the lists with the highest amount of S tiers based in design. Let's just move on. Wormadam, D tier. I don't really have much to say about this. It's probably the better looking Wormadams, but I just, whatever. More ground water. Gastrodons. I like the blue one better than the pink one, in all honesty. We're gonna move these guys down. I definitely like the Gastrodons a little bit more than the Quagsire. So I think that's good. Garchomp is an A-tier Pokemon for me. Great design, land shark. Surprised this wasn't like a water dragon, but it, you know, land shark, so ground, whatever. Y'all are gonna hate me for this probably though, but it is what it is. I like OG Dragon of Ground more than this. Just because this is a little bit just cleaner, smoother in design. Steelix is just too cool, in my opinion. Garchomp, of course, very strong, very great pseudo-legendary, but... Anyway, Hippowdon. Just pure ground. Obviously, the female version is like all black, which is really sick that they made that distinction between the genders, but... yeah, I think this is fair. I don't have much to say about it. Excadrill is definitely an A tier. Very cool. Very cool Pokemon. I've already covered it before, so I don't really want to sit here and talk about it. Here we go with another water ground type. And this is where it gets tricky, because Seismitoad is very good in a lot of ways, but also bad in some other ways. But design-wise, I'm going to put him up into the A tier. I do need to move Excadrill, because I do think I like Excadrill. I can't say that I like him better than Larvitar in design, just because Larvitar is so cute, but I think this is good. And I'll probably do that for Seismitoad. I think that's fair. Crocodile, another great A-tier worthy Pokemon in design. Let's put him here. I think that's fair. I think that's good. Still don't like him as much as I like my Larvitar, but it is what it is. The Stunfisks are an easy D tier, with the Galarian one just being slightly better in design. We'll put Wormadam lower than... We'll do this. We'll split up the Stunfisks. I think that's fair. Golurk, fantastic design all the way around. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had him in the A tier, in the Ghost tier list. In the ground tier list, he's gonna find himself here again. But boy, do I like this design. Let's start moving things down here in the A tier. Honestly, like Golurk's design better than Garchomp. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then Steelix can stay in second place right here. I think that's good. All right, Landorus. I'm only covering the one form because I like the genie-looking forms better than the Therian forms. They just, I don't know. They're genies. Put them in a cloud. It makes the most sense. I think B tier, though. I think this is where legendaries, like, they got solid designs, but they're not, like, crazy designs. So we're going to put Landorus... I'll do him some justice. We'll put him at the top of B tier. I think that's pretty fair. Not much more to say about him. I've never used one before, so Diggersby, neither here nor there. Think C tier. Nincada is cuter. Zygarde, specifically this form, is fantastic. The other forms, like Y, like the dog form, and then like the other form, like whatever. I just think this is definitely the best looking Zygarde form. It is pretty cool and interesting to look at. I'm just trying to figure out, you know what, I think right there, still like my Larvitar better, but I think that's a good A placement for Zygarde. Mudsdale, pretty solid, just pure ground type design as a Mudsdale. Do I like it better than... Yeah, I'd say I'd like it better than the Marowak and the Quagsire and the Gastrodons. But I like the Donphan better. I think that's fair. Alright, we're getting close to the end here. Pylosan. Pylosan's a cool castle, don't get me wrong. I don't exactly remember where I placed him in the C tier, or the ghost tier, I should say. I mean, it's a castle. It's pretty cool. I'm looking at this real quick here. No, you know what? Let's put him in B tier. I think that's fair. He's definitely grown on me a little bit more over the time that I first covered him. Let's just put that there. Powdon. Yeah. Let's put it here. We'll do that. I think I like the Marowak still better, just in a cleaner design form, but I think that's good. Sandaconda, I really do have an appreciation, and I do like this. It was on my one of my first full playthroughs of Shield, because I did like a ground type theme for it, and he was one of the only, if not the only, ground type to have a Gigantamax form, so that's why I picked him, and I played around with him. I enjoyed playing with him. I'm gonna put him here, and we'll put him facing upward like his Gmax form. I think that's fair. I think I like that. Same thing with Runerigus, but Runerigus, I can't remember exactly where I put him in the ghost tier again. It's been so long. Still like him, don't get me wrong, still like him. Maybe here. I think I like it better than the Pylosan, so. Alright, we got the Ursalunas, and I know I've covered them before. Just to save us up on space. Blood Moon Ursaluna just looks cooler, so let's just get rid of this one. This is an easy A tier, like high A tier design for me. Man, I don't know. I can't say I like him better than Garchomp. Let's put him right there, right between Larvitar and Garchomp. I think that's fair. I like it. We have the Quagsire remake and Clodsire. I appreciate it. I like it. I think top of C tier is fair. Yeah, I think that's good. Toad's Cruel is fantastic redesign for Tentacruel. I like Tentacruel a lot. I think what we're going to do is, let's start moving these guys back this way, make some space. It's definitely a B tier design. I think what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to put them right here. I think that's good. Yeah, I like it. Toadskruel's pretty cool looking design and all. Yeah, Toad's cool, Toadskruel. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good remake for Tentacruel. Alright, we're almost done. We only got 4 more here. Iron Treads and Great Tusk here. Iron Treads has easily become one of my favorite ground designs. Honestly, I think I have to put it into S tier. Again, I haven't played Gen 9. Just going purely based off the design, I think is one of the coolest out of the Don fan. Such a great Don fan remake. Absolutely solid. Great Tusk, however, still a very good design. I think it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like too busy, but I think I like the slightly more simplistic look of original Don fan. So I'm just gonna put him right here next to him. I think that's pretty fair. Sandy Shocks and Ting Lu are all that we have left. If I've somehow missed a Pokemon, I really don't think I have, but this list is not that big. Sandy Shocks, we've covered before. I can't exactly remember where I put him before. And I'm pretty sure we've also covered Ting Lu. Ting Lu is definitely a pretty cool Pokemon. I can't in good faith move camera up down to make room here, but I honestly think Ting Lu is a better design than Hippowdon and Pylosand, but I don't think I like it more than Runerigus. And I cannot for the life of me remember where I put Sandy Shocks before, but it definitely makes for a better steel design than a ground design. Pretty sure he's still a steel, or is he electric ground? I'm pretty sure he's, I can't remember. No, he's electric ground. What am I talking about? Steel. Yeah, it's all right. Like, I don't know. I go back and forth on it. Let's put him in B tier. I think I like it better than the Sandaconda. So we'll do this. We'll put him between Sandaconda and Great Tusk. I think that's fair. That is the ground list pre-switching S tier around. This is extremely hard. This is really hard for me. I think this might sound crazy. Actually, no, it's not too crazy. Let's do this. I'm glad I put Groudon up here. Just because I think this is fairly good right now as far as this list is moving around up here. Yeah. Oh, man, this is tough. Do this. I'm gonna split the Nidos up with the Gliscor. I mean, no, I'm not. I'm gonna put Gliscor here. I'm gonna put Nidoking here, Nidoqueen there, and I think that's it. I think that's fair. Once again, Claydol is gonna take my top place for the ground type, as it did for the psychic type. I just really like that Pokemon so much. It really, up until Gen 3, I really don't think I ever really played around with too many ground types until then. And when I saw Baltoy and Claydol, I just thought it was a really unique way to do a ground type Pokemon, infusing it with Psychic. It's such a cool design. I just love it. I love gravitating towards that Pokemon anytime I can get it in a playthrough where I want to pick up a ground type or a Psychic type. It's just gonna happen. I'm torn on the Swampert and the Torterra though. As far as starters go, I like Swampert. Okay, let me just clarify this. As far as starters go, I like Swampert more. As far as ground types go, I think Torterra has the better ground type design. Even though, obviously, it looks more like a grass type, but... I think this is going to be the end of the tier list. I think that is going to cover my S tier. It is absolutely kind of interesting when you really think, you know, my favorite ice type was the Sandslash look, but that's just goes to show you how, I don't know, ice type for me, like, I like ice coverage, and I do appreciate the ice type, but it's really not within my top, like, 5 or 6 typings. So, as to where ground, I'm pretty sure is. But if you put their designs together between Alolan Sandslash and normal Sandslash, I do like the ice look better. So I think that's just a testament of how well a design I think the Sandslash looks, regardless of where it's coming from. I think it's definitely deserves an S tier in design. Obviously, its stats unfortunately are not the greatest, but they're just decent. They're like straight down the middle, like, you know, I don't know, maybe less than the middle. I don't know. Again, this isn't about competitiveness. This is purely based off of the design, in my opinion. If you guys made it this far, please go ahead and leave your favorite ground type in the comment section below. And make sure you like the video, because obviously you stuck around this long and watched me ramble on about ground type Pokemon. I do appreciate you guys, but until next time, stay safe out there. Take care. I'm Protopon. Have a blessed day.